Hi, I'm Nancy O'Neill and welcome to Suncoast FYI. Today we'll hear about Mark Weissman's journey, how Hope for Communities from the Executive Director Pam Hahn helps local children, and we welcome back Nate Jacobs, the founder of the West Coast Black Theater Troupe. Our first guest today is Mark Weissman, currently a student at Ringling College of Art and Design, but that's just part of his story. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Excellent.
Now, I have the pleasure of also working with you at the Made by Gallery, and that's how we came to know one another. And I thought you had such an amazing story that you should share it with our community and the beautiful artwork that you do. So why don't we tell our viewers a little bit about who you are and where you're from, Mark?
Okay, so originally I'm from Sarasota, so I'm a native. I'm born and raised here. Yep, grew up here. Graduated from Sarasota High School in 2002.
All right.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I just grew up here as a kid, skating. I have a love for skateboarding still and kind of like the graffiti scene, but.
Okay. So did you paint all your life?
No, I did not actually. Art was one of those things I ignored because it kept me inside, and I was more of an outside kid, actually skating on the skateboard versus painting it, riding my bike, just kind of being a kid. And it wasn't until later in life that art really kind of took over.
So what did you do after high school?
After high school, right after high school, the summer after high school, I went right into a trade job where I did plumbing for, I would say 4 years probably, and that was up until I left until the military. So it was basically trade work. And I went into schooling for that as well to try to get my journeyman's apprenticeship, I believe is what it was called. So I was pursuing that to actually try to open a plumbing business at one point.
Which you can always do at some point in your life. It's not a bad thing.
I think that ship has sailed for me. The days of my hands and other toilets are not, they're far gone.
More creative now.
Exactly, yes.
All right,
yes,
all right.
Yes.
Well, please tell us about your military career, and thank you
for
your service to our country. Tell us a little bit about where you were.
Okay, so it was at 22 years old, I went into the Marine Corps, and went to Paris Island in January of 2007. And then from there, I did, while in the Marines, I was a tanker, the M1A1 Abram tanks, which have now been decommissioned. They're no longer part of the Marine Corps anymore. But I did 3 tours overseas.
Where were you?
I went to Afghanistan twice and Iraq once, and then did some stuff on a boat where it led me into like the Djibouti, Africa, Somalia area. But that was different time. That's where a lot of the art came from, honestly. A lot of it came from overseas when I had downtime and all I had was a pencil and paper, and I was sketching, whether in my tent or my sleeping bag or whatever.
Do you still have those journals?
I do somewhere, yes, and I can definitely see the progression. A lot of those are really dirty just because of the environment, so the pages are really like covered in dirt. Yeah. They're cool to have. They are somewhere in my house.
You're beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's your beginning.
Yeah.
So how did you get, I mean, obviously that's where it started, but what was the transition from coming out of the military and choosing to go to art school?
So I think there was a path to that too, because as soon as I got out, I went right back into plumbing, thinking I could pick up where I left off, and that was not the best idea. I ended up getting into some trouble, and I had to straighten my life up a little bit, and then that's where I found art, was after I had gotten in trouble and I was trying to find more of like an inner peace sort of thing, because this is kind of based off of calligraphy. And I do it as like a meditation process for me, so it's very thought out. It's very freehand brush strokes. It's just one brush stroke at a time. So it is very tedious. It's very calming for me. So
how do you start your process? Tell us a little bit about your pieces, please.
So with the skateboard one, what I do is essentially I have the blank deck, and it just starts with one row at a time, and I pick a direction and a layout, and I start, and then once I paint it, I apply like a gradient of paint over top. And it's just a form of layering.
Now you said calligraphy. Are there letters there that, or not in these particular pieces?
These ones are not. These are more abstract calligraphy. I do actual lettering as well. I'm no means like a sign painter, but I have done a couple of signs for some local shops around here and some murals.
Yes,
with
I've
actual
seen
wording.
those. They're
Yes, I did
beautiful. And,
there was a mural at Miss Sarasota softball that I did actually maybe a year ago now, up for one of the, it's like for the pictures that they take after the tournament. So that was a really fun experience. But that's actual, like, this is more of like my personal meditation and stuff. So it's I try to keep it as free as it can be without having to put too much thought, if that makes any sense at all.
Yes, absolutely.
But
and all meditations are different, as we were
correct,
saying earlier.
correct, yeah.
Yeah. So you're available for commissions then?
I am,
as
yes.
well.
Yes.
All right, and we'll give everybody your information before we leave. Now, we also brought you here today because you have been chosen to do a residency at the Art Ovation Hotel.
Correct, that is correct.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
When is that taking place?
That will be from June 22nd to the 28th, so up in like 2 weeks. And then on the 25th of June, there's like a little reception that happens, which I believe is from 5 to 7. And then, but
that's open to the public?
Correct, yes, yes it is. It's right inside the lobby, so it's all open through the whole week. And I'll be there from 4 to 8 p.m. doing live art, talking to guests. And I plan on doing a community piece where I have a canvas and I can teach people how to hold the brush and do them. And I'll make it into like the gradient kind of form we have, but it'll be like whoever shows up and wants to try to practice their brush strokes or just learn, I'll do my best and we'll make it into an actual piece from the whole community.
Wonderful.
Which would be really fun, I think, to see, because then it's completely unthought of and it's people trying and it's just trial and error.
It's the stream of consciousness coming out onto the...
Correct, right onto the canvas.
Yeah. Wow. So where can our viewers go to find you if they want a commission or more information about your upcoming show?
Right now I'm working on getting a website together. I am very bad at the whole digital technology side, which is surprising considering I'm in school for graphic design. But the traditional stuff is what gets me and I get wrapped up in it and then I forget about the other stuff. So right now, email or cell phone would be the best.
And what's your email address?
My email is mwiseman@ringling.edu, or hold on, what is my email?
Mark Wiseman, we usually use the C.
Yeah, so it's mwiseman@c.ringling.edu.
Okay. All right.
So,
well, that's a good place to start. We'll have that across the bottom so the viewers can write that down.
Okay.
And again, the show runs from the 22nd to the 28th.
Correct, yes.
And you're there every day from
4 to 8 p.m.
From 4 to 8 p.m.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you
You're
so
very
much
welcome.
for
Thank
being
you very
here
much.
and sharing your work.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
they'll
you.
be all available for purchase, right?
Correct. And I do have larger scale pieces that will be there as well. And I'm still actually in the process of I'm just daily trying to get newer ones.
Okay. Great.
So,
well, come out
thank you.
and see Mark.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Coming up after the break, Pam Hahn, the Executive Director of the amazing nonprofit Hope for Communities right here on the Suncoast. I am pleased to welcome to our show Executive Director Pam Hahn of Hope for Communities, a wonderful organization that helps local children here on the Suncoast. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you, Nancy. It's nice to be here.
And we talked a little bit, and you mentioned that you couldn't do the in-person shows with the pandemic, but you did drive-throughs. Okay. So how does, number one, let's start with what is Hope for Communities, and then we'll give folks a little bit about what you've been doing this year.
Of course, yeah. So Hope for Communities, we are best known for our Day for Hope. That's our signature project, and it's a back-to-school readiness program for homeless children and those in need. We partner with the local church to serve their local school, and through the guidance counselor, we get the children referred. And then we work with hundreds of community partners to bring them everything they need for back to school. So we are across 2 counties, Sarasota and Manatee, and expecting our biggest year this year.
And you give them backpacks, but you have hairdressers come in. Typically in a normal year, you would have dentists and doctors. And give them everything they need to start the year off right.
Literally everything they need, from physicals to dental checkups, haircuts, photos, school supplies, clothes, shoes, you name it.
Now I know that you started this organization in 2009. You and your husband Mark, you saw a need for this. What brought you to where you are How did you come to this decision?
It really was a very personal experience. We were going through a tough time. If you remember, 2009 was the beginning of the decline of the economy back then, and we had a family-based business for 13 years that took a direct hit. And when we lost that business, I was a stay-at-home mom, and we're a blended family with 3 children, and we had 3 children to get ready for back to school. And all of a sudden, the resources were not there. So I was having anxiety in my own life of how I was going to get 3 children ready for school, because those who have raised children know it's a time commitment, but also a big financial commitment.
Yes. Yep.
And it was in that time that I felt like God laid on my heart, if I was feeling anxious, how were the moms and dads that I served at a food pantry or a clothes closet or did a Thanksgiving outreach for, how were they feeling? So it was very humbling, because my kids had a roof over their head and clothes on their body and good food to eat, and I was fretting over a backpack and school supplies, which sounds ridiculous today, but at the time it was my reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
so
that is the reality for so many
so many
people in our communities.
So many. It really is heartbreaking how many.
So it started in 2009. You have one special day, Hope for Communities.
Yes.
But you have many, many events over the course of the year.
We do, yeah. So Day for Hope will run over 4 weekends at the end of the summer, preparing them for back to school. And then we do what's called Continuing Hope. So we ask the churches, if you can picture 4 corners of a square, okay, and you have the churches, the schools, the families, and our partners, and how do you keep that in constant motion? So it could be the church holding a fall festival, and this time inviting the entire school over, or doing Thanksgiving dinner for those families in need, or Christmas gifts, or hearing that a family's car broke down. Does every church in their body have a mechanically inclined individual? Of course. You know, somebody who can come and help these families, because the reason they're where they are is they didn't have that network to catch them when they hit hard times.
And that's it. It's not just, you know, it's not just going back to school that these folks need help.
Yeah.
It's year round.
It
and
is.
the more that you help, the more it helps them.
It
Right?
is, yeah, exactly right. That's exactly what we're trying to do, is to create that safety net, if you would, between Hope for Communities, between our churches, between the schools, and between our community partners, to really help not only catch these families, but lift them out of their situation.
Absolutely. Now, coming through this difficult year, like we were saying, you weren't able to do the hold in person. What are the goals and needs of this year, Pam? How are you going to adapt?
I would say the biggest goals we have this year is our professionals. So normally we do the medical and the dental and the hair and the photography services. Last year, because of COVID, we weren't able to do any of that. We had to do all drive-through models without services. This year, we're allowed to do services with a lot of stipulation in place. So about 1/3 of our events, we're doing 20 events this summer, about 1/3 of them are going to do services. But we normally don't struggle with recruiting our medical, dental, hair, and photographers. But this year, because of the cautions, we are struggling a little bit just to get 1/3 of the events covered. So any professional out there that's a doctor, nurse, dentist, hygienist, hairstylist, barber, or photographer, those 7 professionals, we could use you this summer.
Wonderful. Okay. They can go to your website and find all of that out.
Yes.
And what kind of time commitment would that be for them?
Basically just the day, and they can do any part of the day. It's on a Saturday. Most events run 9 to 3, but if they told us they were only available an hour or 2 hours, we'll take whatever we can get. You know, anything helps.
Absolutely. Anything helps.
It does.
That's a very good
does.
point. So my last question, can you share a little bit about your personal thoughts on hope for communities?
Yeah, you know, it's become such a passion of mine. I mean, we've been doing it now for 13 years, and it is ingrained in who I am. I mean, I just love what I do, and I love being able to help our families. And the best thing for me is to get that phone call. Now, we didn't get them last year, and we might not get them this year because of the situation. But the phone call that says, hey, I got my invite, but we're good now. So pass my invite on to someone who needs it more.
God.
And that to me is like the best phone call, because I know that that meant
lovely.
the net did their job, right?
lovely.
The net helped this family up out of their situation. Unfortunately, last year and this year, we saw a lot of families fall back. You know, so
it was very depressing for
it
on
was
so many
hard.
levels for so many people.
Yeah, and last year was interesting because we see lots of tears at our events of gratitude from our parents, but last year was just so heartbreaking yet heartwarming when the parents said, "I didn't think you'd be here this year."
Oh gosh.
You know, and we were like, we didn't think we'd be here this year, you know, but they were just so thankful, so thankful.
Well, thank you and Mark and all of your volunteers.
Thank you.
Of volunteers and professionals that help you, and your churches and the communities.
Yeah, it takes an army.
It does.
Yeah, we have roughly about 4,500 volunteers.
Wow.
Across the 2 counties that help make this possible.
Okay.
So,
and what is your website, Pam?
the website is www.hope, H-O-P-E, the numerical 4, letter C for community.us, like United States.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. It's a pleasure being here.
Bless your heart.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Next up on Suncoast FYI, we welcome back Nate Jacobs from the West Coast Black Theater Troupe. Last week we spoke with founder and artistic director of the West Coast Black Theater Troupe, Nate Jacobs, in our studio. And now we're going to take you into their theater. SNN's Annette Gutierrez with a sneak peek of their upcoming season.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm here inside the West Coast Black Theater Troupe's Theater House. And joining me is Nate Jacobs, Ariel Blue, and Macy Powell. And we're going to be just talking a little bit about what we can expect in this upcoming season. So as we know, the pandemic put a temporary pause on shows inside the house with a live audience. So you guys went through a lot of changes during the pandemic. Tell me, what can we expect in this upcoming season, and how is it going to be different from last season?
Well, very different. Here we are a year later after we closed the theater last year. And fortunately, because of our phenomenal creative production team, we created an outdoor space in the parking lot of our campus, and it has worked out great to get us through the pandemic. So this year's theme is "And Still We Rise," and can you imagine how I was inspired to come up with that theme? But it speaks to the African American experience. As a people, still we rise from, of course, slavery. But for the world at large, this pandemic that just happened, we're still here. And it's a reason why you're still here. So we open with a wonderful show called Eubie. It was a former Broadway musical, celebrating the father of Black Broadway, Eubie Blake, and of course Noble Sissel, who worked with him. So the musical Eubie, then we do a holiday piece. And after the pandemic, I just wanted to say during the holidays, joyful, joyful, just be joyful, because you made it over. And then after our musical celebration for Christmas, we come back with our world premiere, which we had to take out of the season twice, called Ruby, which is a true life story out of Live Oak, Florida. 1952, a black woman shoots one of the most prominent men in Live Oak, and there is drama, suspense, tragedy, and everything that a drama needs to have in it, but it's a musical. And then after that, we do Broadway in Black, on the theme of "And Still We Rise," from Felicia Rashad, who played the mother on The Cosby Show. But we tell the history of African Americans on the Great White Way as themselves, not in blackface. That's the story of in Broadway in Black. Then we close with a double deal, one person as tour de force, one with Tara Connor-Jones, who plays Nell Carter, the celebrated Broadway star and television star of Gimme a Break. And then we're back the second half of that evening with Float Like a Butterfly, which is a one-person tour de force on Muhammad Ali. So about his activist work and who he was in his life and still is, making a difference in the world, in changing the world.
Right, so we have a lot we can expect from you
A
guys.
lot. Yes, we're back, girl. We're back.
I love it, and it's going to be in-house, right?
In-house, yes, in the
And this is the first time
theater. We're back.
since the pandemic, right?
I love it. I love it. You know, it was heartbreaking to all of us here at WBTT to come into. We cut the ribbon in February. We played the whole run of Carolina Change, which was our opening show. 3 weeks of Your Arms Too Short to Box with God, and then we got box run on outside the theater. And it was heartbreaking for me. And like I said, the troop itself. But we were so very supported through the pandemic. Our board got very aggressive and stayed very aggressive. And we persevered. And like I said, oh, we'll come out with a theme, and still we rise. And as the founder, that resonates with me in so many, many ways, that we're still here 21 years later. So it's great, 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 and I'm happy to see some normalcy happen in the world, and especially in our industry all over this world, in the theater world. So can't wait. I'm excited.
Very, very exciting. And speaking of live audiences, I want to kind of direct it to now Ariel, so you guys can kind of like do the switcheroo. Speaking of live audiences, I know as a performer myself, I love the energy that I get from the audience.
Yeah.
And now that's what we can expect for the upcoming season.
Yes.
And I know during the pandemic, you guys kind of didn't have that for a while. So tell me, how was that for you as a performer, and now how excited are you to have that audience back?
It was a definite shift. We did some stuff here on stage with cameras and filming, and it's like you have those pauses where you connect with, like, you know, a certain person, and you lock eyes and you want to give them that energy. There's nobody there. So you have to give that to the camera, and you learn tricks to do it, but it's something about having that yin and yang of like give and take from the audience that I definitely miss. So I'm ready to be in front of real people. And even the outdoor stuff, people were there, but it's kind of limiting because we literally have lines we can't cross, you know? We're like, this is the stage where it's like, well, this is your box, so don't go outside this box. You can't really get as close as you want to the audience. So I'm like, I need that.
Yeah, and how does it feel to be back in your stage? I mean, how
You know
exciting
what?
is that?
I get a chance to perform on the stage. We opened the season, and the show that I was cast in was later in the season. And so this upcoming year, I'll be here, and I'm excited because it's Still We Rise, and I'm ready to get here and like see the lights, camera, action of everything that's happening.
Yeah, because when you're inside a stage, it's everything. I mean, they have control over the lighting, the background, the props. I mean, you can even control where the stage, the audience is. And so, thank you.
Thank you.
Ariel. She's looking forward to a lot of things. We have a lot to look forward to. I know one thing that I look forward to is getting the energy from WBTT. You guys put so much energy on stage, but not only on stage, it's also in the youth programs and in its education. And I know you were a part of that. So tell me, how did they impact you and where you are today, since I know that you're at Howard University?
Yeah, I took part in Stage Up Discovery for 5 years. The past 2 years I was a guest. But in the years that I was there, I have gained so many skills and so many transferable skills to where I am now at Howard. But even outside of Stage of Discovery, I mean, I was able to intern here and work in the office and work backstage with Adrian, and so I was able to learn production as well. So coming here at that time, I was really able to sink my teeth into a lot of different things and obviously perform and work with professionals, and the artists here are absolutely amazing, and they've really helped me with like my confidence and coming outside of my comfort zone as well. And that's probably the number one thing that I've really learned here, is just being more confident in myself. I want to eventually have my own production company inspired by Mr. Jacobs himself. So that's kind of where I see myself, and being here really allowed me to see that like I can actually do this and go along on this path. And I'm so grateful for everything. They've been nothing but amazing to me and very helpful, and I wouldn't exchange it for the world. So
yeah, I mean, talk about an amazing mentorship. Like you mentioned, such amazing talent here.
Amazing. Everybody has been absolutely amazing to me. So
That's amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to see what you have in store for your future.
Yes, very exciting.
It's not just an idea, it's a vision that you're going to make come to life.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Maybe we'll do a turnaround and do an interview with you.
Yes, maybe.
As an executive director or something. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
mean, you guys, this is going to be so much fun this upcoming season. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to be like. Are we able to get a little sneak peek of what we can expect?
Of course.
Of course. Here we go. Fiddle-dee-dee, fiddle-dum. Look out, people, 'cause here we come. Glad we're back in our theater.
So get ready.
Hey!
Get ready.
We're gonna give you WBTT's fever. Get ready.
Get ready.
'Cause here we come. Get ready, 'cause here we come. Get ready, 'cause here we come.
Here we come, y'all.
Get ready,
Yeah.
'cause here we come now. Get ready, 'cause here we come.
Woo! I love it. That was
She's
great.
ready.
I'm
She's
ready
ready.
to come
She's
out
ready.
and join the party. And so if you're ready and you guys want to come out and be that live audience inside their theater house, where can we go?
www.westcoastblacktheater.org for all the information about And Still We Rise 2021-2022 season at WBTT.
Perfect. Well, I'm excited. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you,
This was a
Annette.
pleasure.
Always wonderful and always thinking about WBTT. We love
Of
you.
course. I'm here for you guys. All right, Nancy, back to you.
Thanks for joining us on Suncoast FYI. And if you would like to promote your nonprofit or community event, we would love to hear from you, and this is a complimentary service. Please call our producer, Adam Huntley, at 941-361-4645. To view previous episodes, go to snntv.com. I'm Nancy O'Neill, and we'll see you next Friday on Suncoast FYI.